Hi, I'm Dino Bassanese, Chief Product Manager for Click4Time online scheduling software. Welcome to my video on creating and managing services. Your clients will be booking time with your business and will need to choose from a list of services you offer. In this video, I'm going to walk you through how to create those services, assign your services to your staff or resources, assign taxes if applicable, and manage some display considerations. Now, one important bit of information to keep in mind is that only users with owner or administrator permissions may manage services and their settings. At this point, if you haven't visited the Finance tab to set your currency, taxes, and prepayment provider if applicable, I would recommend completing those tasks before moving forward with creating any services, since those taxes will need to be available to assign to each service. You'll find the Services tab under Settings. The Services page will display a list of all the services offered by your business. To create a new service, select Add a Service. You may move through the Service Settings tabs by clicking on each tab, although it's intended that you simply move through each section by completing the required information and using the Next button, somewhat like a setup wizard. If you feel you need to save partway through the setup, you may go to the Image tab and select Save. We've included explanations for most fields and settings, with examples that might apply to your business needs. It's always a good idea to read through these instructions, as they will outline most considerations for that setting. First off, you need to name your service. The name will appear on your company and client-side calendar, as well as invoices, notifications, and reports. It will be beneficial to be descriptive in your service name so that it's clear to your clients what service they are booking. Consider that you may offer the same service with different durations, and although you do have control over whether or not to display the service duration, adding the duration to the service name will make the choice foolproof. As an example, a massage therapist may want to name their services Massage 30, Massage 60, Massage 90, so on. To give your clients a sense of what the service is all about and its potential benefits, fill in the service description. Now be descriptive and try to use appropriate keywords. The description is important because it will be indexed by search engines, increasing your online visibility and help potential clients find your services through online search. Next, pick a color for the display of the service on your company calendar. This helps when viewing a busy calendar filled with different services. As a side note, there is an option in the advanced settings that allow you to choose whether to display your appointments by service or by service provider color. By default, this is set to the service color. The visibility setting controls whether or not the service is displayed publicly to your clients. Private services are active but hidden from your client's booking online. You can still book private services from the company calendar at your discretion. The default setting is public, where the service will be visible to your clients and from the company calendar. A service is active by default, meaning it's currently offered by your business. If you no longer offer this service and need to remove it from the service booking list, set it to inactive. Bookings that are already on the calendar are not affected by making a service inactive. Select Next to continue in the setup. The Duration and Assignment page is where you'll assign the service providers, your staff, or standalone resources, equipment, that perform this service. And as a side note here, you should never have both a service provider and a standalone resource assigned to the same service. For the client-side availability to display correctly, a service should only be performed by either a person, in our terms a service provider, or equipment, machinery, in our terms a standalone resource. You can learn more about scheduling and availability in our video, Creating and Managing Staff and Resources. Next, you'll need to set the fixed duration for the service. This is the amount of time required to complete the appointment. You can set the duration in hours and minutes by either typing a time in the text field or selecting the clock. If your service requires more time after the appointment for cleanup before the next service, you'll set that up a little further down the page. The variable duration setting allows you to set the length of the service at the time of booking. This setting is only available for your company calendar and not on the client booking side. The next option controls whether or not the service duration displays in the client booking screens. The client booking interval override is just as it's titled. It's an override. By default, our system is set up to maximize your calendar by calculating and displaying slots to your clients in relation to the service provider's daily start time or end time of the preceding appointment and the total duration of the service. As an example, a client looking at a 60-minute service with 15 minutes added for cleanup and a service provider who starts at 9 a.m. would see available slots as 9, 10:15, 11:30, and so on. Now, if there was already a booking for a 30-minute service from 9 to 9:30, the client would see the available slots as 9:30, 10:45, and 12, so on. This way, every appointment is butted up against the previous booking, eliminating gaps in your day. You may override this functionality to offer more start times to your clients by setting an interval of your choice. For example, setting this to 15 minutes would cause the available slots to display every 15 minutes. So the same 60-minute service with a 15-minute cleanup would display available slots as 9, 9:15, 9:30, 9:45, and so on. Now this setting is not recommended, as it would allow your clients to book randomly throughout the day, creating gaps. So leave this set to 0 to maximize your bookings. Now, also worth mentioning is that this setting has no effect on bookings made from your company calendar. Preparation time allows you to set a buffer at the beginning of an appointment. You decide how much time you need to prepare ahead of a client's visit. Now, although we do offer this option, keep this in mind. Setting a prep time will cause the client view time slots to shift by that duration. For example, if this were set to 15 minutes, a client looking at a 60-minute service for a service provider who starts at 9 a.m. would see available times as 9:15, 10:30, 11:45. So you'd lose the first 15 minutes of each day with this setting. If there's a need for time between bookings, we recommend sticking to using the cleanup time. Only use prep time if you're sure it's required in order to satisfy some unique scheduling scenario. Now, cleanup time will add a buffer to the end of every booking of this service, pushing the following booking back by the set amount of time. Now, do keep in mind, when creating bookings from your company calendar, you may override these settings at your discretion. The Fee tab deals with the financial attributes of a service. Here you can enter a price or fee for the service. As well, you can decide to display the price or hide it from the client view. The service fee will display on invoices and in the client's My Appointments list. Here you can also set your prepayment requirements. Prepayments can be optional or mandatory, and you can set the amount by entering a number for the percentage of the fee. Only a number is required here, no percent sign. Hopefully you took my advice and have set up your taxes if required. If that is the case, all you need to do is choose which tax to assign to the service. Select if the tax is included or in addition to the fee. If taxes are included in a fee, you will see the tax calculation and amount separated in the invoice item details. This is really cool. If you know that a fee will change in the future, you may set the new amount in the Future Fee tab. So you'll need to set the new fee date range, leaving the to date empty if the new fee is indefinite. Then set the new fee by selecting Add, and don't forget to apply the changes to the page. Now, if an appointment is booked today and a new fee has been set to start next month, let's say, that new fee will appear to your clients in the booking confirmation screen and the invoice. To note though, any service booked before the future fee was set up will still appear with the old fee, and those invoices will need to be adjusted accordingly. Now for the booking options, which will allow you to decide how your clients choose whom to book with. These are the options. Number 1, clients must choose a service provider or resource to complete the booking. Booking option 2, clients may book without choosing a service provider or resource, so clients don't have to make a choice to complete their booking. Or booking option 3, clients cannot choose a service provider or resource. One will be assigned for them by you. Now, if a client books an appointment without choosing a service provider or resource, those bookings are flagged as to be assigned, or TBA for short. And an indicator will appear at the top of your company calendar where you can manage those assignments. These bookings need to be assigned to a service provider or resource by your staff as soon as possible. The TBA list is only accessible to users with owner, administrator, or receptionist permissions. Now, once assigned, the client and the service provider will be sent a confirmation notification. Now, if you're a single service provider business, we recommend sticking with booking option 1, as there really is no choice for a client to make, and the other options will add an extra step in your booking process. The next option is useful if you want to allow overlapping bookings for the same service. Now, the maximum bookings per time slot per service provider will allow clients to book more than the default 1 appointment per service provider or resource. For example, if you want to be able to see 3 clients for the same service at the same time, set this option to 3. So if you had 2 service providers who could perform the service, clients would be able to book a total of 6 appointments for the slot to be considered fully booked. Only use this setting if you are certain you want to allow for multiple bookings per time slot. Now keep in mind, if you use add-on resources to limit the number of bookings, this setting may not work as expected, so try not to use both settings in tandem. And finally, the Image tab. This is where you select and upload an image to display to online clients in the services listing. You can use any image that is in a JPEG, GIF, or PNG format, and it can be up to 5 megabytes, and must have a solid background. Don't use transparent background images, as the background will display as black. Select Browse, and choose an image from your own files, then upload it. Depending on your connection speed, this process may need a minute to upload. Once you see the image on the screen, drag these handles to crop the content you wish to keep, and select Save Thumbnail. Then on the bottom right, you want to select Save. If your business is such that you need to cap the number of available slots because of a limited number of resources, this can be accomplished by assigning add-on resources. So as an example, you may have 3 staff available to perform a service, but only 2 rooms at any time. By default, the system would allow 3 slots to be booked at any time because there are 3 staff available. So to enforce this limitation, you'll need to first go to Settings, Resources Schedules, and the Add-on subtab to create the add-on resources, or the rooms. You would create an add-on resource named Rooms, and set the number to 2. You may add a description as to why the resource was created. This add-on resource and its description will not be visible to clients. Once the add-on resource has been created, you can assign it to the service from the Add-on Resources tab. In my example, you would assign one room to each service that is performed in that room. When this service is booked, it will subtract one room from the available 2 rooms. Once the second appointment is booked in any overlapping time slot, no further bookings can be made for that time as the 2-room limit has been reached. Well, congratulations, you just created a service. Now that you have your list of services, you'll most likely want to display them in a particular order and possibly within categories. You can reorder services by dragging and dropping them within the list page. To list a service within a category, we need to create that category. So we'll select Add a Category, enter a name, and select the check mark. Now drag the services you wish to display in the category just below that category name. Any leftover services listed above the categories will display on their own outside any category in the client view. Now, to edit a service, simply select the service name to access its settings. Changes made to a service are not retroactive and will not change any existing bookings. The new service settings will only take effect for bookings created after any changes were saved. Well, that covers it. If you have any further questions about setting up or managing your services, please don't hesitate to email us at support@clickfortime.com. You may also be interested in checking out our other helpful training videos on our YouTube channel, where you can also subscribe to get all the latest updates. Oh yeah, don't forget to check us out on Facebook and Twitter. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. We look forward to helping you grow your business. This is Dino Bassanese, Chief Product Manager for Click4Time online scheduling software.